joining us now with more KITV4 political analyst Neal Milner. So, Neal, we hear what apparently the turnout looks like in Pune, and doesn't bode very well.
Well, no, if you're very generous, because there have been some research, Civil Beat did some research, if you're very generous in terms of what the total number of votes are, counting Maui and those extra votes, it's highly, highly unlikely that we would get past 4,000, and that's really generous. If you do the math, she needs about 70% of those votes in order to make up the 1,700 vote difference. The challenge is that the Pune districts, those precincts, are pretty heavily Howley, and he does much better with the Caucasian vote than she does. So, I mean, we'll see soon enough, but that's been the challenge all the way through this, and it's always been, how do you overcome 1,700 votes in a relatively small population?
What about that other issue that the woman raised there, voters who feel disenfranchised, maybe not from these two precincts, but from other precincts in that area that were hard hit by the storm? They couldn't necessarily get out and vote. Is there any sort of legal remedy for that?
Well, here's the problem. There is a legal remedy. There is a legal remedy to challenge. There is not a legal remedy that gives you an automatic recount, as there are in 48 other states. And that argument that that woman made is an argument that the judge had heard, and Colleen Hanabusa basically emphasized one part of it, but not the definitive part. The judge said something about it. Common sense, maybe you would have it. What the judge also said, in effect, is that you give election officials lots of discretion in running elections because they have the process under their jurisdiction. So if she goes ahead, there is a way to go ahead and to challenge the results of an election. Again, it's not automatic. She has to go to someone has to go to the Hawaii Supreme Court. There's a list of reasons, and it's kind of open-ended, but you can't get one automatically. And the other challenge is, what do you ask for if you go there? It'd be not likely that you could ask for the entire election to be over. Maybe she would ask for trying to get those precincts, extend the election. It's hard to do, and we don't know yet, and she may want to look at the vote tally and see how she is, but that's the only remedy that she'd have.
It's been such an interesting turn of events, as we've seen from the very beginning with all this, and it's got to be something that the legislature is going to be taking up for this next
Well,
session.
that's what you hear, but the legislature, of course, had an opportunity to do this before, and for some reason they didn't. But you would think that they would take it up. But there's all different ways to go about approaching it, right? Do you have an automatic? There are two issues, right? One is the thing about natural disasters working okay? And the second thing is, do you change the law so that if, let's say, it's a 0.5%, that's automatically a recount? That's it, end of story. You don't have to make any other arguments. So those are two different sorts of things. And the legislature, I've heard that some legislators are interested in taking them up, but that's a long way from actually adopting them.
All right, thanks for being with us, Neal,
Sure.
and we'll wait and see what happens this evening. All right.